So this is the full moon reading for Saturday, 30th of May, 2026, near the Mauna Kea at the Hawaiian Island in the Hawaiian Kingdom in continuity. And this reading is for all Earth protectors who are considering the Mauna Kea as the navel of their world, whether living here on the Hawaiian Islands or relating to the Hawaiian Islands as the center of their life. So this is very, very interesting, very, very powerful full moon. It's the second in May, and it will have very, very, very much with understanding, because like sun here is in Gemini. Gemini is the first earth sign, and then also we have here Mercury at the end of Gemini, and that is about understanding facts. It's about learning, it's about teaching, and here in Hawaii, it's in the fourth house, and that's the place of family. And then, of course, the full moon is opposing the sun and is in the opposite house. And here, the 10th house. 10th house is equivalent with here, Capricorn. Hard earth, the last, hardest, coldest earth sign. That's equivalent to the 10th house, and that's about our profession and our vocation. And here in Hawaii, on the Hawaiian Island, close to, I take Hilo as my marker. Yeah, I could probably take Waimea, probably a little bit closer to the Mauna Kea, but this is where I'm locating this chart. And so here it is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius being the last fire sign in the zodiac. And as I said before, all the last signs of the zodiac, starting here from Sagittarius, ending at Pisces, there the element of each sign is in service to all that is, to the collective. Let me reset this here because it gets too colorful. And so here we have this opposition, yeah? And what it basically says is we have to understand our family structures, our role, our duties, our liberties within our family, and then make that a mother-oriented, moon is mother-oriented philosophy to teach. Because here Gemini is all about learning and teaching, and I always say, if you want to learn something, teach it. And it is so, there's like so incredibly much to teach in the Hawaiian culture, in Hawaiian history, to the world, and the world needs to hear that. But it has to be rooted in sane and safe here family systems. There, everything starts from there. The structure of the family of origin has to be fully understood and explained to oneself and amongst the family members, and then one can go outside into the hard world and say, we are bringing something which is not actually new. It's not new. It's eternal. But it's something that so-called modern, westernized, patriarchal, capitalist, imperialist society has forgotten, has divorced itself from Earth. Yeah. And because of that, because Earth is in good relationships to all of the other celestial bodies, they're all dancing with each other. There's very rarely any collision. There's harmony. there is a cosmic harmony and a dance and a music, and we on the earth, many of us have forgotten this, and we have to remember it. And there's no better place, to my humble opinion, than Hawaii. There is no mistake about being the most influential tech millionaires. Zuckerberg and what's his other name, Ellison, who owns almost all of Lanai. Why they're here? Why Oprah Winfrey is here? Because this place with the tallest mountain on the whole planet, it doesn't look like from Hilo, it doesn't look like much, not like Mount Everest, but it's from sea level. So that's why they want to build this 30-meter telescope, because that is the place for broadcasting. But we here, what we're doing is we are broadcasting spiritually. We are still using social media big time, but we will go from there, because the aim is to reconnect all of us to our Earth Mother, who's now like cut up in pieces, tortured. Our Earth Mother is literally tortured, and all of us feel it. So we need the sane and safe retreat in the family, and that has to be more than emotional. It has to be also intellectually understood. That's why we have the sun here in the fourth house equivalent to Cancer, where the sacred image of Isis, Madonna, Mary with a child, this is in every culture. This is a sacred image. This is where it's located. So here now, why we really have to understand what it means going back to the mother as the center of the family, or the grandmother even, the oldest. Now, like the most precious things were like children to kill, yeah? What about the oldest in the community? And there's a few places on the earth where the old people are actually valued, like here in Hawaii. This is very important, because we are relating to a chain of ancestors and from all over the world, and then we have another line of where we have reincarnated. Our genetic line isn't always the same as our different lives we had in different historical periods. Yeah, so we are living in a tremendously important place, and to my humble opinion, it's very, very necessary that everybody who lives here has to look all over the world to see the impact one is able to make from this place. Just remember Zuckerberg, just remember this Ellison guy, what he's an oracle, or what's PayPal or whatever, very, very high ranking and dangerous broadcasters of vibrations affecting the whole planet. There's no mistake they're here. So we have to kind of, like they would say, man up, yeah? Like even in the military, if you're called a woman, that's the worst insult. But it's actually the motherly qualities that we have to celebrate and practice and communicate in our communities, in our families first. So what is actually extremely powerful is the ascendant. That's the place where that was at the eastern horizon. Or it was not. It will be. Sorry, it's not a personal horoscope. Then it would be. It was, but it will be. It will be at that particular full moon at the 30th of May, second full moon in May this year. That is the sign rising, the ascendant, and that is like to the degree in conjunction with Pluto. And Pluto is the great transformer. small planet. They wanted to make it a dwarf planet even, yeah? They say it's not a planet anymore at a certain time, yeah? No. But in our world history, Pluto is the grand transformer. Pluto is like the higher octave of Mars, and what is not ready to change, Pluto will change with violence. If there are any walls to have been broken down to make place for freedom, for equality, for true human rights that had actually been declared at a time when Pluto also was inside of Aquarius. Aquarius, the great transformer. Yeah, Aquarius is always the bringer of new things and is on an intellectual level. And then we have this fantastic triangle here, Pluto in 120-degree angle, very benevolent angle to Uranus, and Uranus is now where Uranus, or will be, Uranus is where, or is now, where he feels very, very well at home. Yeah, being also the patron of all digital communication, fast communication, epiphanies, downloads, intellectual downloads. You know, we suddenly may understand what actually free energy, how it works, and how we personally are able in our daily lives to access it and use it. It's possible, I'm telling you guys. Many of you know that already, but we have to know it some more, and we have to practice it some more, and we have to also communicate it some more to people who are clueless and think we're just simply insane about by saying so. So, and all this is in a wonderful connection also with Neptune. Here, Neptune being the higher octave of Venus. Venus is not in charge of sex. Venus is in charge of wisdom, love, beauty, aesthetics. Yeah, some say also of wealth, but wealth can be an inner wealth. You know, you don't have to have the wealth on the bank, or carry it around with a Rolex or a fancy car or whatever. You know, there's inner riches and there's beauty all around us. So and Neptune is the higher octave. When Neptune is in a difficult aspect, that at this full moon he's not at all in a difficult, in an adversive aspect. No, he's just in good aspect with everything around, and there he is about active compassion, not only feeling it, wishing it, no, doing it, and doing it with intelligence. Yeah, here intelligence, higher intelligence, and doing it forcefully, not violently. Yeah. When we are digging our garden beds, we're doing forcefully, but it's the most peaceful thing you can do when you still have the bodily force to be able to do that. And so this is what's happening here, and so we have Neptune also in the second house. Second house is equivalent to Taurus, and that is like the land back issue. The second house, that is in charge for our property, for our possessions, and being connected now with Pluto at the sign rising in Aquarius, the intellectual concept that is given also through Uranus here in Gemini is saying we are sharing. We are sharing everything because everything is actually given to us in abundance. Yeah. Once we share, once we know nobody can own the water, nobody can own anything on this planet besides sharing it with all that is around. And then there is there's such an abundance of everything. Yeah. Once we stop fencing ourselves in and say, here's my border, and whoever else is outside or is not supposed to come in, and I need to hoard this and that or the other, or else I'm not going to survive. No, it's once we let go of that, and the wealth of our planet is distributed in a way according to cosmic law that gives every human being a right to be someplace without treated like you have to justify being able to build a fence someplace or own something. Like now we have these stories of this Bill Gates guy who's buying up all this farmland. I mean, I'm telling you something about, I'm digressing a little bit because this is about possessions. Now here, the second house is about possessions. And here we have this dreamer, this benevolent, loving, cosmically loving, unconditionally loving, forgiving Neptune. So, and it's about property. And Neptune is asking, as being in the first fire sign, action. Yeah. Show action. Show that you understand what history and her story is asking from us collectively, each in our own way. And that is the understanding that once the what is now called resource is accepted as a gift and treated as a gift and honored as a gift, there'll be so much for everybody. There's no need to save anything, to hoard anything, to defend anything. And moreover, there's no need to slave for about 8 hours or more per day just to have the allowance, the license to have your body alive someplace. Yeah. And then there's really, after 8 hours or more, there is no free time. People are exhausted. They cannot concentrate on anything anymore. They can't learn what they want to learn. I have many years ago, I have read some anthropological text that I found very interesting, where it was said statistically it is not more than 4 hours, even if you have no machines whatsoever, to work, whatever it is, to maintain the human body healthily and abundantly. What are we doing with the rest of the day when not more than 4 hours is actually needed? There we have time to communicate with each other, to create whatever we like, to celebrate, to have our spiritual rituals, our religious gatherings, what have you, to enjoy, yeah, and make life happy for everybody by what we are doing out of free will, yeah. And then we're coming to a point where everything's out of free will because even the work of what is real work, like tilling the ground, planting on harvesting, that's real physical work, sewing a dress, whatever, weaving a carpet, what have you, whatever you can do with your hands, Yeah, that's real work. But even with machines, no more, even less. Yeah. So we are coming to that understanding that once we stop wanting to possess something, all we have to do is like opening up like a flower, and whatever we need is given. Yeah. And we have to make peace with our earth again. We have to heal like all what is done now through the chemtrails, through all this weather modifications, through the drilling into the active volcano, this this horrible Israeli company in Lower Puna drilling into active volcano and causing earthquakes and horrible things. So there we need to do a lot of work, and we're doing it with our heads. And here we have Mercury in Gemini still, and as Mercury is now at the end of Gemini, is Gemini and about to go into Cancer pretty soon. Um, he's bringing all the skills, the intellectual skills of Mercury, and Mercury is called like the messenger of the gods. Yeah, he's closest to the sun, and he is fastest revolving around the sun. Yeah, he's hot. Yeah, and so he's the big communicator. And there, it's in the fifth house. Fifth house is equivalent to Leo. Leo likes to show off, and that's about the arts. You know, Leo. The fifth house is about making children, not raising them, just, falling in love, romance, self-expression, art as the highest form of all of that. And here it's about brain children. It's about communication through words, intellectually explaining. And here we have not very strong, but still we have this 120-degree angle. Oops. Let me reset that here. Here's a 120-degree angle to Haumea, dwarf planet. The goddess of fertility is not happy. She is not happy. She's not really feeling well in Scorpio. You see, we have an opposition between Chiron, the one, the healer, and her in Scorpio. She's not happy there, but she will be more happy through being explained that we are living on a planet that is our mother. This that is an entity. It's not a person, but it's like it's somebody who feels, who thinks, who lives much longer than we, much more wiser, much bigger, but still, we are in charge, and we're not supposed to hurt her unless she'll hurt us back. That's not so difficult to understand, yeah? So this is Mercury that is great in communicating that to the world at this particular time. We have another much stronger 120-degree angle. It's called trine, blue lines always, yeah? This is the benevolent angle to the karmic aim of the whole thing. Where is the karmic aim? In Pisces. Now Pisces is the last, and this is the most spiritualized sign. Yeah, Pisces is the domain from the lowest level, the village idiot, to the highest level of spiritual teachers, like the Rudolf Steiner guy, for instance. Yeah. And it's very, very interesting that a lot of people that I've met here on the Hawaiian island in my last 23 years, how many Pisces? I've never been around so many Pisces like here I've met. So I'm digressing. but this is in the first house. So, so we as individuals, as different from each other as we are, yeah, still, when it comes to our spiritual identity, we are understanding this oceanic consciousness, yeah, and that's our aim. That's the aim of this full moon. Now, I'm doing this new moon reports, and I find new moon always more interesting than the full moon. But the full moon is like a fruition. Yeah, so we have to look back what happened at the 1st of May. Yeah, interesting. I didn't make a very big report at that time, and very much too late, so few people may have even seen it. But this one is the fruition of that, and you can go back on YouTube, and you can find the new moon report I made, if it's not clear what I'm saying here. So I'm interrupting this here now because it's becoming too long and will take too long to upload, but I may continue this.